This place, I can't imagine any team wanting to come here for a couple reasons. It's so small, and you got all those people on top of you, and we always, kicked their ass when they came here, so.
I believe Harry Rizzi, the announcer for the Ironwood radio station, gave it the name The Barn.
Besson passes into the corner. Shot up and good. By number 20, Brian Bessanen.
Well, we knew we had to come out running and gunning because that's what we've done all year, and that's how our game fell together.
You don't look forward to the games that are easy wins. You want to work hard.
Ewen-Trout Creek's had some great teams, great athletes.
If you can point your finger on that western end of the UP where there's not a lot of towns, that's us.
It's 77-36. The Panthers in command of this one.
The last game in the barn, 1998.
The last time the Ewen-Trout Creek Panthers found themselves playing in the state title game was 1982, and 40 years later, the 2022 Panthers squad can now add their name to that list.
My name is Gary Forrest, graduated in 1972. Well, I actually bought it. My boys were in high school, so I mainly bought it for them for a place to come and play basketball. And of course, kind of use it as my own personal training facility. I should use it more, but it's worked out pretty well. And of course, I get to be my own janitor. I like a squeaky floor. We can hear the tennies squeak, then you know you're in a gym. I did have a favorite shot. It was a deep corner. And in college, I liked to hang around in that deep corner a lot too. It was a real natural shot for me. A lot of people have trouble shooting from the corner, but I thought it was my favorite spot on the floor.
I came in the door, it smells the same as it did back in the 80s when I was here.
Oh, it's a special place. It smells the same still.
I will say it doesn't smell great, but it smells like the barn.
I remember the smell of varnish, and it was so hot. Those first 2 weeks of practice, it was lots of running, sprints. Always had a garbage can handy for the occasional person that needed to throw up.
35 years of moments. I had one game where it was raining. It was a torrential downpour outside, and it was raining so hard that as the teams went down the floor, my managers had to run out and wipe down the floor where it was leaking. They would run and watch the game to make sure they'd get out of the way when the game came back the other way. By the end of that game, those poor managers were exhausted. But a lot of great memories. A lot of great memories here. A lot of friends that we had that we don't have anymore. But this place was home. It was home.
It's impressive. I'm so glad Gary's got this and just keeps it up, because it's more or less a community court. That's sort of how he runs it.
Winter, summer, it's heated. You can go there whenever. So playing at the barn was just what I did, especially over quarantine. The boys and all of us got some games going in there.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with tradition. Once you get the tradition going, the younger kids pick up the basketball and play a lot. Of course, access to facilities to play means a lot. When I was younger, we were able to get in here, off school hours a lot of times and play. I know a lot of neighboring communities' gyms were not open.
We would come in late at night and just shoot and shoot and shoot.
This is where I came with my sisters when they were in high school, and I got to shoot at the side rims while they were practicing.
remember when I was a freshman, our coach Tom Cottle said, if you guys could win some games, you know, if we can start playing well, people will come out of the woodwork to watch us play. And boy, was he right.
Switch fingers.
You could only fit 300 or something in here. That stage would be full of the high school kids going nuts. If people would be in the hallway, they'd be standing outside the door. So-and-so got a basket, so-and-so got a basket. They'd pass it down, you know. Those were fun days.
Coming out of the tunnel and seeing all the fans and stuff, this place was packed. This place was packed every night for a boys and a girls basketball game. People who didn't go to school here talk about the barn and how it was just electric.
If you're an opponent here, it is intimidating. You know, the feet of the fans are right out on the floor. Some of the ones, if they didn't like your team, they weren't really moving those feet either.
They were right on top of you. And so when you were doing an inbound pass, I mean, you had very little space to actually do it. And in addition to the fact that the teams from Ewen were always just so amazing and hard to keep up with in general.
You know, the stage, you put a bunch of crazy high school kids on that stage, and
trying to make a free throw for the opponents was a tough gig because the fans were right behind that free throw line and just hollering and wailing.
Raise the stand right over there or over in that spot and yell at you when you got out of hand. You know, if you were here cheering.
I'm standing against the wall over there. That was my spot. Within a year's time, we had 2 state championships, 1 boys, 1 girls. I don't think that's been done before, but I was beginning to wonder what I had walked into with all these Stone State trips and championships, and if we're going to have to build a bigger trophy case or something.
1973, that was the first year of a state championship for girls basketball. That year, Ewen won it.
What I remember is when we won that game, I could hear people in the crowd jeering about these Hicks from up north coming down and taking that trophy up there. They were so upset.
Ewen-Trout Creek is the 1972 Class D champions, defeating Flint Holy Rosary by a score of 74-62.
We thought we could win it all. We had great athletes on our team, and they knew how to play the game. We were great shooters, played fast. And of course, this is our 72 Class D articles here that Diane Hart's made up. Tom Izzo played against Tom in college. He was at Northern Michigan, I was at Lake Superior State. And this, of course, is the 82 team. Dave Bessinen, of course, was their star. You know, the legendary Bessinen family. The undefeated team in 2008 with my son Christian and All-Stater Chase Leskala. Of course, they got beat in the quarterfinal, but real nice team. A couple of my other boys here, Dustin, of course, they had a real good team also, but they got upset by Crystal Falls. Son Kelsey was on the All-State team there, 2001, I believe. Well, Ewen-Trout Creek's been pretty fortunate to have 2 Mr. UP basketballs. You know, Jake Witt, 2017-18, and then, of course, 2022 with Jaden Borseth.
Borseth strong to the hole, and 1 coming.
All the new light-colored ones that aren't faded yet with the 2022 team. And then, of course, I did see all of the tournament games. This team played very well in most of those games, just dominated the other teams a lot of times, but they were a very athletic team and some real good basketball players.
They grew up knowing basketball, knowing that the sport was cherished around here. And it's just, I think it's in their blood.
The tradition runs so deep that it's 2 generations back, it's 3 generations back, and
oh boy, there's so many coincidences,
And now, let's meet the starting lineups for today's final game.
Okay, the big star, the UP Player of the Year, his dad was my starting center on my undefeated 95 team. You take Kelsey Jillick, his dad was a good starter on my 92 team. Caden Bessinen, of course, he was on the bench, while his dad is Dave Bessinen, the big star from 82. Brandon Pokey, his dad, the assistant coach, was my starting center in 90-91.
We're a small school. There's no way we should be one of the best winning programs in UP history, but we are. I think that's a big thing. It's that work ethic, that grit that all the players, all the people in the community, everybody has.
But really, you think about the barn and what that means to all ETC students. It's a pretty special place. Everything happened here, right? This is where school dances were. This is where prom was. This is where assemblies were. And I don't think anybody can ever forget, like as a 7th grader, you're sitting over here on this side and the whole rest of the school is sitting on the other side, and the school looks at the new Rugrats. I mean, that was our first interaction with the barn, really.
Like, that's part of what bleeds into the whole basketball thing, is like, this is your place, this is it's undeniably yours, and then when you come play on it.
You look at most of the schools in the outlying areas that have closed, they're just falling down, and Gary has been nice enough to, put money in and keep putting money in.